Welcome, folks, to our November Tech Talk. This is our last Tech Talk of 2025. I am hosting Ashley Lentz from Encorps, and she's going to talk to you about how to create a STEM teaching career if you're interested in that. So, this is another pathway for folks that have been interested in either supplementing your regular career with teaching or reaching back out to your community going down that pathway full time. So I'll let Ashley take it over, talk a little bit about who you are and how we connected and like why we're doing this topic.
Yeah, thank you so much. As mentioned, my name is Ashley Lentz. I'm a part of the Encorps team. I'm the recruitment manager here. I oversee recruitment efforts both in the volunteerism as well as what we call our teachers program. I'm going to talk about both, kind of, and also talking about how education is systemically changing, what new insights we're seeing, and shifts that we're making to add more work-based learning into education. I'll talk a little bit about the program that we have based out in California. So if you are in the California area, we'd love to have you join us, but also talking about how you can make that difference in your own state because there are opportunities available for you and there's actually pretty easy transitions into making that shift. And then likewise, similarly, I'll give you my contact information at the end. So even if you are out of state and really trying to figure it out, I'm more than happy to engage in that conversation with you. But without further ado, this is a little bit about me. I've been at Encorps now for over 4 years. I'm really like that first point of contact if you're ever interested in connecting more about Encorps, hearing more about our programs and support, rather than a lot of kind of like volunteerism and other opportunities where you kind of reach out and see who kind of responds back. I really am the face of making sure that you feel supported. You can ask me any questions. I really, really do care about truly understanding who you are. I also work in corporate development aspects. So even if you're on this call or listening to this recording and you're like, hey, I'd love to have you do a talk at my organization and hearing more, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to consistently bring more conversations about education to the table. I've have over 13 years of experience in education. I've literally taught all the way from transitional kindergarten through college. So I've seen every type of learner that goes through the different types of needs necessary for each individual, and how it shifts over time and some of those trends that kind of consist within that. But without further ado, I kind of want to tell you about who Encore is, what we are, what we do. So we are a nonprofit. We are based out of California. We started back in 2007. We started off with Sherry Lansing as our founder, former head of Universal Pictures, but also she was a former teacher prior to getting into the entertainment industry. So we created this program back in 2007. During that time, there was a big, massive layoff in the education sphere. If you remember, there was a big, what we call the pink slip moment, where we had a shift in priorities and funding and lack of teachers going into the field. And so our job really then became how do we connect STEM professionals to education? I can't tell you how many times I talk to people that have, typed in how to become a teacher, and all of the information feels like a mind map of what is this? I don't know what this means. How do I, synthesize this? There's credentialing, there's, different types of CSATs I have to take. What is all of that? And so we created this program to address that. We connect highly effective STEM educators with public schools students to access a high quality STEM education. We want to make sure that people who are interested in understanding what education looks like has an opportunity to actually go into those fields without kind of removing those barriers of entry. With that, we have what's called our Encore Teachers Program, which recruits, selects, and supports STEM professionals and experts in the STEM categories to explore teaching as an innovative solution to the STEM teacher shortage happening within California, but at large, because there is an alarming lack of high quality professionals in those fields. In addition, in 2020, we created our STEMX Tutors program, which is a little bit similar, a little bit different in that it's a virtual volunteer program that connects individuals with students who are currently underperforming in their math courses. We do all the placement, kind of making sure that our students feel confident in what they're learning because there is those kind of philosophical questions that our students are approaching of like, why am I learning this? Why is this important? How do I utilize this? And so this program is really to address that.
So
And then
I see the two tracks there in your
yeah,
previous screen about
yeah.
the teachers program and then the tutors program.
Hmm.
So the first box for the teachers program looks like for somebody interested in making it a career. Am I
Yeah.
right? Okay. And then the second one is like, I already work in tech and I don't want to leave tech, but I might want to volunteer and like work and maybe teach either a class or get involved in the school somehow.
Right. And then with the teachers program, you also have the option to volunteer specifically. So if you're like, hey, I like what I'm doing, but, I just kind of want to get a feel for it. I've thought about, we hear this a lot of people that are like, I've thought about becoming a teacher. I don't know if I want to do it. I
Mm,
also don't want to make a sharp turn into teaching, get in the classroom and realize it's not for me. And so we want to combat that as soon as possible too, because we would not want somebody to go into a field and realize they get their first day and they're like, this isn't for me. So we give them a first kind of dip your toes in to see if it is right for you before making a huge leap. And we
okay.
give you kind of all of the steps in there to kind of think about that. So just kind of giving you a look at what the education landscape is looking right now. You hear all of this time of like, well, there's no real jobs out there right now, especially when we're looking at the tech industry and where, nobody's hiring. Where can I go? I have this experience. I've also been in the military. I have a different type of regiment to myself, and I want to also maybe have that intrinsic value of wanting to help out my network. So in 2024, more than 40 states reported shortages in multiple teaching fields. I would say the biggest and most primary fields of where there is need for more teachers into the classroom is going to be in science and math.
Mm.
History and English are really, I would say, doing pretty well in their shortages, but science and math, we are seeing, especially in California, a drop in positions being filled. So just in 2024, it was estimated that there were over 400,000 teaching positions left open, unfilled, or by being filled by teachers who were not qualified to be teaching those subjects. But because there was a lack of applicants, that was really an area for growth and professionals who were like, maybe I do want to explore this. And I would honestly say, too, like the actual field of teaching, like, yes, you hear those, horror stories about it, but there is also a lot of benefit in it. You have summers off, you have a pretty well versed healthcare system set up for you, and that you have fully paid medical dental. You have a great CalPERS, which is their retirement fund, and a strong union to help support you. So
Does
this
that
is the program.
matter? Does that matter which county you're in California, or is that for the whole state?
Whole state. So
Okay.
whole state falls under that same category. And then I would even say, even outside of California, there is a huge shift in trying to make these teaching positions more equitable so that we can retain teachers, so
Hmm.
that we remove these shortages that are occurring. So the goal of this program really is to tackle that STEM teacher shortage and really helping those who lack the proficiency in under-resourced communities gain access. Um, just a little bit about how our program supports you in this kind of career observation. So, our teachers program really is about an individualized program. There's no one size fits all model for somebody who's looking to explore education, specifically in the classroom teaching. So, we actually pair you with a program manager that's in your area that listens to you. You go in, you can say, this is where I'm at. This is the troubles that are facing me. I've thought about becoming a teacher. I cannot find a job in my field. I'm kind of at a loss. I also have thought about this as a secondary career. And they sit down with you for as long as you need. We go over your resume, your experience, your background, what you're hoping to achieve, and what your timeline looks like. Then that program manager designs the program for you. We find fellowship opportunities that are available to you so that you can actually be paid if you are going into a credential. We also find you more job placement opportunities because we have a network of teachers and schools that are really actually point to us and say, hey, you've actually vetted your individuals. Who do you have that's available? We have a couple job slots open up, and we can then get you in those positions filled, and you can still be earning a credential while already teaching in the classroom because you're having the support of us. You also have professional development available to you, where extensive Google Classroom modules, we redesign your whole resume for you. We look at grant opportunities for you, different types of job placement opportunities. So you're not going in this alone. We also have teacher training. So, like I mentioned earlier, when you're thinking about becoming a teacher, but you're like, I'm not going to make a huge leap without seeing if it's right for me. So, we actually place you in a classroom no more than 30 minutes away from you for 10 weeks. You go in, first 2 weeks, you're silently observing in the back of the classroom. What does this look like? How does this feel? And then in weeks 2 through 9, you're actually working in small groups, connecting students to the content that they're learning, but also using it in a lens of, hey, this is how I've learned about it previously. This is how you can actually use it in real life. It's not going to look the way that it does in the textbook all the time. Here's how it's applied. And at the end of that 10 weeks, you actually have what's called our guest teacher takeover day, in which you get to teach a guest lesson. Students provide you feedback. The teacher at the school site provides you feedback, as well as your program manager goes in and observes and shows, hey, this is what you're really good at. This is some areas of improvement and how you can use this to kind of transition and really give you that support that's necessary. And in addition to that, what we do is we're really accommodating. We understand it's during the school day, but we work with you and your schedule to find when the best time for you to attend school, the school time is. We just ask that you do it during the same time when you go, just so that you can see the same students and how they progress over time. Also, we have a community of like-minded professionals. We have people that are just wanting to volunteer in the classroom, but we also have people that are slowly making their transition and exploration into teaching as well. Here's just like a quick timeline of everything that I already kind of discussed, but just so you can get a visual of it. So you first have your welcome call when you join in our program. That's where you could get to really connect with your program manager. They build that roadmap for you, their expectations, how we can get you into the classroom as soon as you'd like, or if you want to just dip your toes in. We'll go through some Google Classroom modules of how to best be an effective teacher, what to expect while in classrooms, how we can help support. Then we have your guest teacher training, where we actually kind of give you step by step of how to really conduct yourself in the classroom, what that looks like, how we can make sure that you're feeling comfortable and confident in that space. You then have a site orientation where you get to meet the teacher that you'd be connecting with, as well as the classroom itself. Then you begin that volunteer guest teaching, where you'll be for about 1 to 2 weeks observing, going into classroom support, and then you have your guest teacher takeover day. You may be wondering, like, okay, after the guest teacher takeover day, what do I do? You can either then do another semester of volunteering in that classroom, seeing if it's right for you. You can then go into our volunteer program, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Or then if you make that decision, like, yes, this is right for me, I want to begin the credentialing process, we can then go that route. Or if you still kind of want to slowly take it or not right for you, then you can definitely just keep us in your contact. And if anything ever changes in the future, you can reach out to us. Our support, I know I talked a little bit about this at the beginning, but just so that you have a clear picture, we provide you that clear path to what it's like to become a teacher, even if you are outside of California. Great time to reach out to us, myself included. I will get you in contact with one of our program managers who can help support you, give you some of the basics. I know we're not, unfortunately, nationally based in this program, but we really do care about getting more professionals who are wanting to be in the classroom there. So we will try our best to even help you find resources that are in your state that can support you. We do
I have a quick
yeah.
question, Ashley, because I've heard from some military spouses that they
Mhm.
have, a program called My CAA in the military that
Okay.
covers certain certifications, like
Mhm.
teacher certifications. So when they're moving, they can
Mhm.
take their
Yeah.
certification from one state and apply it to another state. And I'm just wondering, California and New York seem to be the two states that if you are certified
Mhm.
in those states, can they automatically laterally transfer to another state?
Yeah, that's a great question. It depends on the state specifically. Some will require that you take like a state civics exam or like a state civics course. We would then look at that information for you to see what you need because
Hmm.
some they don't require anything and they're like, yep, that works. We have more, our California is pretty universal. But then even likewise, say somebody or spouse is coming into California with they've taught previously in another state. What we can do is then look at that credential, see how we can match it, talk with our Department of Education, California Department of Education, see what they need so that we can get that cleared relatively fast for them.
Yeah. Awesome.
Uh,
That's great to hear because I know that maybe a military spouse is watching this and might have taught in another state and is interested in like, how do I continue on this path?
Yeah, and I would say too, like just kind of looking at it from where we're at too, of like I've seen how kind of tricky that information is online, so we want to
Hmm.
make sure that we can help with that. But yeah, there are clear ways of how we can transition it over and then out of California as well. So if you have a military spouse who's in California right now, you're going to be here for a little bit longer, you're stationed for a little bit, reach out to us. Like we can kind of look at what that credential looks like, look at your timing frame, and then kind of move accordingly. Because we also have what's called our the career technical education, which is a new kind of credentialing pathway that we're seeing take place where we're focusing on work-based learning. So there's like two types of credentials, and I don't want to confuse everybody, but there's the single subject, which is what I always consider like your core classes, your math, your science, your history, your English. And then you have what's called career technical education, which is happening now, which is going to have your computer software engineering. It's going to have biotech courses. I always consider like, do you remember ROP growing up where you had more elective courses? There's a faster way that you can be into the classroom teaching faster through a CTE. So anybody who is currently in tech doing software engineering, but is like, I'm looking to do a little bit more. Maybe I want to do part time, there's a faster way to get into the classroom within less than a year through the CTE model. And then that can be a way where these individuals who are in California right now can earn a credential a lot faster than going the single subject route. And then that can be transferred over state by state.
Okay.
But that gets into the weeds a little bit. So definitely when people have those questions, just reach out because there's a lot of intricacies to this, especially as it's changing right now. But then likewise, we offer grant and scholarship support, finding the right ones for you, making sure you're not paying for anything, so that we can make sure, and especially with those that have been in the military already, there's ways to, make sure that you're not paying for this and we can help in supporting that. We also offer networking and peer support. As I mentioned, we have people all over that have thought about doing this, but they're scared. It's a different change, it's something new. We don't want you to feel alone in this. We know that teaching can honestly be a pretty lonely subject in the start of it because you are with students all day. You don't get to, be in a cubicle and really connecting with your counterparts. So we really want to make sure that our peers that are part of this program really do feel like they are in a community and supported. So requirements for our California-based program, we require you to be in one of our main hubs. So we are based in San Francisco, we're in Los Angeles, we're in Orange County, we're in the Greater Riverside and Sacramento area. San Diego is one of our biggest areas right now, especially for our military professionals, because of Camp Pendleton, et cetera. That's, I would say, our biggest hub. We also ask that you just like possess some type of understanding of the current, STEM field that you're looking to explore in, or you have a desire to teach math or science. And then here's that kind of CTE space where if you're in business or finance or computer science, we can still help you. There are other classes that are available in education right now, which is really awesome to see that you can get into the classroom a lot faster. You have to at least have a bachelor's degree to do the program from the single subject. But if you have like either an AA or specific like financial, business financial courses through a community college, you can actually teach CTE without needing the BA, and we can help support in that. You don't currently have a teaching credential in the state of California so that we can support you. But if you're coming from other states, etc., licensure, sure, ignore that. We can still help. and that you're able to obviously work in the United States so that you can complete a background check per state of California requirements. We have to make sure everybody clears that.
So if somebody completed a coding boot camp, that's
Hmm.
not a baccalaureate degree.
Yeah.
However, it is higher.
Hmm.
It's still, your deep skills training
Yeah.
within STEM. Would they still be able to qualify?
Yes, because they have a year of working experience in that field.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're more so, as long as they have at least some type of experience. And then what we do is we work specifically with the Orange County Department of Education. So then we go and to that department and we say, hey, we have this individual. We've conferred that they have experience. So look over it and we vouch for them so that they can get that credential.
Okay.
Just so you know the size of our program, so we've had over 282,000 people, students impacted by our program. We've recruited over 1,600 fellows into this program. I think it's more at this point since I redid this. Just in this past year alone, we've onboarded another 100 fellows into our program. We have an 80% retention rate of 5 years. So if somebody does this program, becomes a teacher, they're staying in for more than 5 years. And I will be honest, the national average is only 50%. So we found that when we can really connect with these individuals, support them, that they're wanting to stay in the field longer. And then we have over 250 partner schools that we've connected with since our program started back in 2007. So this is kind of, I want to transition us into our secondary program. So this is for anybody throughout the United States is more than welcome to join what's called our STEMX Tutors program. This program is a virtual volunteer program that connects you with a middle school student that's currently underperforming in their math coursework. We're trying to build a sense of belonging in our next generation of students so that they know and see that there's a place for them in potential future STEM careers. And so we found that when we can pair students up with a professional and have them see that there's somebody that's really rooting for them and wanting for them to succeed, that our students are really gravitating toward these fields, but feel really supported and acknowledged. And oftentimes, all research has pointed to the fact that if students do not have a STEM role model by middle school, then it's often too late for them and they don't feel connected to want to pursue these careers and opportunities. So here's just a little bit about our program. 82% of our students have actually increased their math proficiency. We'll talk about why that's so important in a minute. 96% believe that they have improved their math through working with the STEMX tutor, and 84% of our students feel a lot more confident in their math skills since being a part of our program. And why we did this. So this program started back in 2020 to address the pandemic, but we also found in data that currently in the United States, on average, only 28% of eighth graders are currently meeting math standards in our country. That is a pretty poor performance in and of itself. But what we are seeing in the silver lining in this is that when we can support students, make them feel connected and supported, they're really jumping to where they need to be in their math after they are a part of our program for a year. So this is just a little bit about that program. So we actually started this program back in 2020, middle of the pandemic. We, as you know, had been working on that teachers program, but we connected with the schools and teachers that we'd been supporting, and we said, hey, how are things going? Heard we're going to be out for 2 weeks. Do you need some help? And then from there, our teacher said, we do need help. And then from what was supposed to be 2 weeks turned into a year for most of our schools. And so we noticed that there was a lot of learning loss happening in this time frame. Students had to go online. They had to figure out how to be online. Some of them had to be alone in that they didn't have family supporting them at home. And so we worked with our school partners to identify how we can create a program that not only addresses students' needs, but our volunteers' needs. Because we know that it can be really difficult to volunteer and hard, and there's other lots of pieces that need to be filled. So, being as we're all former teachers who work at Encorps, we really created this program to address all of that. We've seen programs that unfortunately don't work. And the reason why is because communication is lacking. And so we really put that into perspective when we created that. So connected with our LA school partners and we said, hey, we're available. How can we help? And then from there, we really developed this program to make sure that we can make a difference in students' lives. So it connects you with a middle school student who is currently underperforming in their math coursework, currently in an under-resourced community. They may not have access to free tutoring support services. They don't have the funds, etc. And so we really go to support them and make sure that they can really connect with somebody outside of their network. Oftentimes, students are like, what do you mean somebody in a whole other state is wanting to help me? Like, I'm just somebody, I'm just a student. And really seeing that there are support services in a community of people who want them to grow. And so we have you meet virtually 2 times per week for 1 hour at the same time each week for 1 semester or more. I will be honest, most of our tutors continue for more than 1 semester. We have tutors that have been part of our program actually now since 2020. You get to work with the same students, see how they grow over time, what they need help with. I would say like one of the really cool things is like they just really gravitate towards somebody who's wanting to support them and kind of just make sure that they understand that they have somebody in their corner and understand also what it's like to be a middle schooler, and how to navigate that process and also connecting why what they're learning is so important.
Mhm. That's really amazing to hear. I'm sure there's success stories that you have.
Yeah, so about that. So we've conducted over 10,000 hours of free tutoring for these students. What first started off as supporting 20 students has grown. 93% of our students increased or maintained their math grade through working with a STEMX tutor. We supported over 529 students for what, and that's just like my favorite thing to see. By Encore, we've had over 500 tutors from all over the United States get back to our students. We've had them working, well, most of our tutors will work at like Blue Origin. We've had them working, one of our previous tutors was actually a defense secretary. So we're really well versed in this, in helping students. And even just this past year, since our fiscal year starts in July, we've onboarded another 90 tutors into this program. So we are growing, and what that means is we get to share out about this program now and get more people involved. And then what's really cool too is like, say, you're not in California, you're not able to be a part of the teachers program, but you still want to see if it's right for you, if potentially teaching is something that you can and want to pursue. This is really a first kind of look into to see if you feel comfortable engaging and with students and helping them with their coursework. And then all the while, say it does work out and you're like, hey, I do want to become a teacher, but I'm in Minneapolis, like I'm not anywhere near you. Can you at least give me some advice on how to transition into becoming a teacher in my own state? And we absolutely will. We've actually, there's like 4 new tutors that we have that have just done our program the last year, and they don't live in the state of California, and they're actually on their own way to becoming teachers right now. And we're helping support them in that endeavor of just giving them the basic necessities to be able to achieve in that kind of space. So here's the students that we support. We predominantly pair new tutors with 6th grade students and 7th. They're about the age of 11 to 12. They're located in Los Angeles. You don't need to be in LA. As I mentioned, this is fully virtual. It's for myself and my team that can easily go to the school sites when necessary to help support, hear parents, connect with our students, our school teachers to see how climate's going, what we need to do to like tweak the program potentially just to benefit both the volunteer as well as the student. We do support in under-resourced communities where 85% of students are on free or reduced lunch. That's how we quantify economic need for this program. As you know, it is math tutoring, but unfortunately, it's not going to be trig and calc. It is going to be a lot of foundational math and pre-algebra for our students. So it gives you everybody an easy look in to help support those students. I always joke as a former political science major that if I can do the math, literally anybody can. I've even jumped in on sessions and helped support. As you know, students are generally placing about 1 to 2 grades below grade level in math understanding. So you may be working with your student, but realize, oh, they don't know their multiplication and division facts, want to help them out. And then lastly, just to kind of make sure that students are committed, we have them all sign on to join our program. It's not mandatory for them. We give them a presentation at the schools. We have parents and students go to the session. We give them an expectations of how to conduct themselves, no chronic absenteeism, and no behavioral issues because we really want students who want to be there, and we understand people are volunteering their time. We want to make sure that we can support them and that we can get that buy-in from everybody. Here's how our volunteering works. So we handle everything. In terms of placement, in terms of finding students, we are just looking for people who want to give back their time. We ask that you commit to tutoring twice per week for a total of 2 hours for at least one semester. You're able to attend 80% of your scheduled tutoring sessions, but if you're sick, you're on vacation, things are busy at work, you can't do anything for like the next 2 to 3 weeks and you need help, we have substitute tutors that come in and support while you're away. Tutoring is always virtual for you, so you never have to go anywhere to give back. How volunteering works from the student's perspective is we actually keep them at the school site to conduct their tutoring. So rather than trying to have a sixth grader go home and check their email and log on with you virtually, we keep them at the school.
They're not
Uh,
going to do that. They're going to get on their computer and start playing games.
yeah. So we're like, it was really funny because when the pandemic was happening, we had to have them at home, and we were just like, okay, you know what? After this, they have to do it at the school because I remember being an eighth grader. I don't remember checking my email. I don't even think I knew how to log into it. So we keep them at the school to do their tutoring.
Yeah, my
Uh,
nephew, so my sister-in-law is an eighth grade teacher, and she had two boys at home, I think a first grader and a second or third grader while teaching. And the
yeah.
first grader at one point, he just like they were just doing check-in. It was the beginning of the day. It wasn't even like
Oh
halfway
yeah.
through the day. And he had turned his camera off and everybody's like, where are you? You know, and he just shut the laptop and just said, I'm done. Like
Yeah.
that was
So
his
we're
attitude.
yeah, we were like, okay, we're not doing this if if we can do that. We do have some fully virtual students where they don't do their tutoring at the school, but they've already been part of our program for a while, and we actually test them to make sure that they are going to go to their tutoring sessions, because we really trust everybody who's at home that's doing that. So students stay at the school to do their tutoring. So for them, the bell will ring. They'll go to a designated classroom and connect with you virtually while a teacher is roaming the room, making sure everybody's getting connected. There's no issues in that part. We typically pair 1 to 3, but I will be honest, it's usually 2 to 1. We typically pair 2 students to 1 tutor, and we do that for 2 reasons. Students go in with a buddy; they're less. It's easier to break the ice when you go in with a
Mhm.
buddy. And the second is we don't want you showing up to a session and then realizing right before your student is, absent that day. And so we want to make sure that we're valuing your time as much as humanly possible because you are doing a huge act of service for students. Um, and at the same time, when you are volunteering, we have our own program manager for this program who's also connected. And so if you're running into any issues, you just quickly chat them and they handle it so that you can go about volunteering. Tutoring often takes place between the hours of 12 to 4:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Thursday. This is what one of our most recent tutoring schedule looks like. And this is on Pacific Standard Time. So we have you fill out a form of like what your availability looks like, and we place you accordingly. If you're looking at this at home and you're like, I'm not available, both Wednesdays and Thursdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I can do like a Monday and Wednesday type of situation. What we do is we can have you be a substitute tutor in the interim. So what we'll do is if a normal tutor is sick or out, what we do is we have our subs, we'll do a blast email and say like, hey, who's available to help support during this specific time? And you can come in and support. Because we also understand not everybody has the full time to give, but really still wants to make a difference. And so we try to honor that as best as we can. Lessons consist of, so you may be like, okay, we're going to work on math, but what are we actually doing? So lessons are going to consist of a couple different things, depending on the school site. Some schools, they'll work with their students on homework. Some schools will have specific worksheets, and then some groups will also kind of do a mixture. While we really care about getting students' math grades up and working on the tutoring aspect, there is also a portion of it where we ask our tutors to work on life skills with their student. That consists of how to build study habits, how to study really for a test, how to look at what careers are available out there. And we also hope that who's ever a part of this program shares a passion for what they're working in to help support their students. So, for instance, for coding, we have a lot of software engineers. I would say it's predominantly software engineers who are volunteering, and all of our software engineers like to spend like the first 10 minutes just working on coding practice with their students so that students are also building a new life skill that they may not know about in their current grade and interest level. And so we're just trying to open up their horizon to different opportunities that are available. And realizing too with them, like it's not just going to always look the way that it does in the textbook. We really
Mhm.
want to help them understand the application of it as well. So how we support, we're never going to metaphorically just throw you in and say best of luck. We do have an orientation prior to ever being matched or paired with a student. The orientation goes over everything that you need in order to be successful. How to lesson plan, for a session, how to look up digital whiteboards, how to connect with students. It's basically a boot camp for how to tutor 101. Because we also have people who have never tutored previously, and they're like, this is kind of a cool skill. I can even sometimes our tutors will go do our program and then kind of freelance tutoring on their own. So it's also a great way to skill build as well if you're looking to potentially tutor as a side hustle in the future. Um, we also work with schools, so we have access to school site staff. This is what I meant by we make sure we have everybody involved in the program. We get the buy-in from the schools as well. So rather than students all across coming to us and saying, I need help, we go directly to the schools who can tell us school climate, what's going on, how are things going. This was super important during the pandemic. Like, hey, we're not going to have as many students showing up to session. There was an outbreak at the school, especially like when it was first starting. So they are our confidant in letting us know everything that's going on. We thanks to them, we also utilize a Google Classroom that houses all of students' curriculum, their diagnostic testing. So we have our students take a test 3 times a year, and that outputs data to what they're doing well in, what they're exceeding in, and what they still need help with. And then we give that to you. So there's no guessing game of like, what do they need help with? It'll tell you their grade level, where they're benchmarking, so that you always know. We also have their class calendars so that you can match that to the curriculum that they're working on so that, they're sixth grade, you don't want to hear, what are you working on today? And they say nothing. So we can easily say, no, you worked on this today. We have all of the information. So there's no hiccups in that. We also have tech tools and learning strategies if you're just looking for ways to make your sessions more engaging online. And then likewise, we have tutor community hours. So if you want, we have free events on Zoom where you can connect with all of our other tutors that go to events. It's really cool too, because if you really connect with somebody on that space and you're like, I want to kind of carry on the conversation, we have Slack channels so that you can continue that. It's a great way to network if you're job hunting as well. Like I mentioned, we have over 600 tutors at this point. So if you're like, oh, you're working there, like, do you have any positions open? It's happened before. And then those that are early in their career too, of being like, I'm new to this field. Could you help me connect with more of a seasoned software engineer and see what it looks like from their perspective? Like, we are happy to facilitate that. We also offer letters of rec. So if you've done our program for a while and you need a reference, reach out to us. We are happy to vouch for you. And then we have speaker series. So, like education, those that are in the education landscape will come in and give talks. One of the big kind of areas that we've been talking a lot about right now is AI in education,
Mhm.
and how that is affecting students both positively and negatively, and what that outcome is looking like, and how we are combating certain issues that are arising, whether that's plagiarism, but also how to use it effectively, because it's not going away. We know it's not going away, and we just want to make sure that our students are using it accurately to get the resources that they need, and it's not just giving them answers. Okay. So one of my most important slides here is kind of next steps. So with both programs, they kind of funnel in the same way. We ask that if you'd like to be part of our program, we do require an online application, which is listed below. Uh, the application process is rolling. We don't have like a stopping window of like, when you join, you have to wait usually another semester. We can connect with you in some capacity. The first step is applying online. From there, we would either screen or interview you. Screening goes for the tutors program, interview is for the fellows program. We would then just begin signing onboarding documents for you and then get you connected into our programs, whether that's the orientation route or the welcome call for our fellows program. If you are in California and you really like the fellows program and you're really considering it, our next cohort does start in February 2025. So we are kind of at that point where we're saying, hey, if you know you want to get started and relatively fast, kind of apply today so that we can make sure that we can get you confirmed and into the classroom as soon as possible. But in terms of the STEMX program, it's truly rolling application. You can come in and support whenever you're available. Usually we pair in next pairing will begin in mid-January, early February, and go all the way until May. But you can join in at any time and sub in the interim while we look for a student for you. So that's really it in terms of next steps, but I've also included my email here so that if you run into any questions, concerns, you have more questions about something I mentioned, like feel free to email me directly. As I mentioned, I am truly your first point of contact, and I'm happy to answer any question under the sun about our program. If I don't know it, I will go hunt and try to find it for you because we are really big on just making sure everybody is comfortable. Our website is listed there, and then as well as our QR code. So thank
By the
you
way,
again.
for folks that are interested and you do reach out to Ashley or you apply, please mention that you heard about this through Operation Code so that we can continue to gauge whether this partnership is something that our community would like to expand on. Maybe we can do another workshop later on in 2026. And we can even get folks that have signed up to either be the STEMX tutor or fellows to talk about their experience as well, which is super exciting. So like I love always giving back and teaching. I'm in the higher ed kind of postdoc phase. Always wanted to do it. Worked, in industry. I still work in industry and was a founder. And then when you're giving back and like teaching the next generation to take over for your footsteps and talk about like what were your failures? What did you learn? What are some new things that are challenging in our industry? Like
Yeah.
this is all where innovation lives, right? So
Yeah.
love it. Thank you, Ashley. Any last tips for people?
No real big last tips. I think right now, just really reach out to me. If you have any questions, we have the capacity to support. We recently just partnered more with the California Department of Education to get this program and our STEMX program to more individuals. So we have the resources available to help support you, and we'd love to have you on board.
Exciting. Thank you for joining us, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
See you soon.
See you soon. Bye.